This report brought to you by the Richmond Club, where investors and high-growth companies meet.
Rob Edwards is the president of Affinity Metals. Based in British Columbia, the company believes they may be on to the next Sullivan mine. Please welcome Rob to the podium.
I am Rob Edwards from Affinity Metals. We are trying to be BC's next premier silver, lead, and copper deposit. We are in BC, and our company is fairly new, and you may not have heard of us because we've really kept things quiet for the last 2 years. We haven't told a lot of people. We've kind of restructured the company, got things ready to go in order for hopefully what we think is the bull run of the metals, and hopefully that's a sustained run coming forward. So let me tell you a little bit about Affinity. We have a share structure that has, and that's a little out of date because we just closed about half of our private placement, so we now have about 33 million shares outstanding. And we also, the nice thing about it is that we have 85% of that held by management and our close business associates. We've been in the business for almost 15 years with other exploration company that we've started and taken public and been through the ringer with. It's subsequently doing well, but it's been a long, tough bear market for all of us. And so we've learned a lot of lessons during that time. And Affinity's kind of a nice fresh start with some education behind us. So we sustained and put together a great management team. We have good, solid backers behind us as far as our initial financings, and we're looking to go forward with a fresh new company and tell the story. Nice thing is, as I said, we haven't done any marketing, so the story is new, and so it gives lots of upside with a tight share structure going forward in the property that we have. So, what's our property? What's the geology? We have the Regal Property, which is in Revelstroke, British Columbia. It's just north of Revelstroke. And you can see we have some pretty good neighbors there. That's the first picture that comes up. But the property itself is very large. It's 8,800 hectares. And so it even has a little bit different geology from the east to the west side. We have some good neighbors. On the property itself, we have past producing mines. There's actually 3 of them, but there's 2 that are very notable. One, the Regal mine on the bottom, being the southwest corner, has some past production. It also has some pre-43-101 resources that initially attracted us to the property. Also have the Allco mine, which was mined small scale. There's adits there and good geology, high-grade veins, and that's what initially attracted us there. Some good neighbors. We have Rockmaster. You may not have heard of them. They're a new up-and-comer, but that was the JNL property previously. That property has 2 million ounces of gold already proven, and they're taking that property. They just did a deal on that and purchased it, optioned it for $44 million, and are moving that forward, and they think there's lots of room for expansion. So the geological trend that it's in is the Kootenay Arc, and that runs kind of up towards that property, all the way up from that Rockmaster property, down towards the Sullivan mine. Though technically the Sullivan isn't in what they call the Kootenay Arc, it is an offshoot of it and kind of an anomaly, but it's along that same mineralization zone. Okay? So that gives us an idea of the property itself and why we chose that. We chose it from, I mean, during the time that we were setting up this company, we probably had 70 or 80 companies properties come across our desk. And it was a good time to pick up properties. We got it for a cheap price, and now we have the opportunity to take it forward. One of the nice things that we also had from it, and I've talked a little bit about the neighbors already, there's the JNL deposit. There's some of the technical resource amounts that are there. And the Regal mine, there's a little bit of the historic resource there in its detail, as high as 71 grams per ton of silver and lead and copper and tin, and even some tungsten credits in that. So, when we got this property, we had a ZTEM survey that was already done on it. It showed some really good targets. You can see the red outlines there and long linear targets. It was our fortunate opportunity that this property, this survey was actually done previous to our getting the property. It cost about $500,000, and we got the benefit of it. The guys before us, they were technical people. And in the 2011, they weren't able to raise money, and they lost it back to the prospector. We knew the prospector very well. He knew that we had our company and that we were ready to go and take it forward. And he says, "Look, I think you should look at this. It's a good opportunity. I think it's perfect for what you're doing." So we took it, and we outlined some of those high resolution and high probability targets that ZTEM target had identified. Interestingly enough, when we were out doing the work on the property, and subsequently, since we've got the property, last year in 2019, we did a drill program on it. And before, you can see some nice circles there, a black outline, and then a red outline, and some pink outlines on that far west ZTEM anomaly, it's called. And if you ignore that for a minute, we were doing some drilling before, because that's newer information that we've had just recently, late last year. And so with the ZTEM targets, we were trying to decide what to do with them because they're huge. So we did some drilling to test the Regal mine, to test the Allco mine, and we got some good grab samples coming off that property, and I'll show you those numbers in a minute, but enough to say that 5.7 grams per ton gold and 4,410 grams per ton silver and high-grade lead, zinc, and tin as well. So some very good grades. And we're seeing the same kind of things in those drill core amounts from 2019. But interestingly enough, while we were doing all that work, the prospecting, reviewing old reports, looking at the soil anomalies and things around that area of that large target, we had a company that has some newer technology, acoustic technology it uses, and they actually phoned us and they said, look, we have some data on your property. I think you should know that you have a world-class anomaly on your property. Well, they had our attention, so we said, absolutely, give us the data. And when we plotted it on our property, it ended up being almost a perfect bullseye over top of that ZTEM anomaly. So we've got two very convincing arguments from our geophysics that say that we've got a very large target. That target is 2.5 kilometers by 2.2 kilometers. And it's not us that's comparing it to the Sullivan mine, it's our geophysics. They have looked at and they have flown the targets, or the past production, the areas around the Sullivan mine. They've flown the areas up around the Imperial, which is the Reddick Creek project, which is silver, lead, zinc as well, and compared the geological signatures, and they're very similar to what we have on that property. So they're matching that up and making those comparisons, and we're excited to put a drill in that anomaly this year. So there's another picture of it, and you can see that the geology starts with some faulting as well that goes right through that anomaly, and we have the inflection points in the right spot. We have all of the surrounding mines in the right spot, high-grade veins, and lots of them. So this is an important ZTEM anomaly picture that we actually have to show where our drill pads are going to go, and we already have them outlined from the geophysics report. We've got 2 drill holes that are going to go on the ends of this and they're telling us that we're going to drill 750-meter holes and that we should hit this at about 350 meters. And so the basement of it is far deeper than that, but the holes should get us into that 750 meters and test the anomaly very convincingly. So that's kind of an indication of where we're going to go with the drill. Another base metal target picture, again, it shows the faulting very good. These are the drill holes in green. This is the side view of it. They've given us tons of detail on what this anomaly looks like. Not only do we have the very convincing Sullivan-like deposit, no, not a deposit, an anomaly there, we also have another target that we're interested in going after, and that is on the northwest side of that property. It's a gold and silver target. So again, I said the geology changes a little bit, and so we have the gold and silver target on that end of things. Lots of faulting going through there. The right geology from the J&L property, similar geology and signatures coming down from that. So, and that target is 1.3 kilometers by 1.5 kilometers. So very, very big targets. All the geology, all of the geophysics is pointing towards the likelihood that they're there. So we're excited to do that. Again, that's a little closer image on the gold and silver target, all of the inflection points, all of the faulting going through there, some of the other past producing mines that are there as well. This is our sampling program. Again, I told you a little bit about the highlights of our sampling program. That geology is everywhere. You don't have to go very far to pick those rocks up and see that there's very, very high grade, 4,410 grams per ton silver, lots of other polymetallic metals with it as well. Now, our company, who leads it? So I'm, as I said, Rob Edwards. I've been in the business for 15 years. Darren Blaney. Sean Pinnell is actually a driller, so we get great rates on drilling, and he's a very solid businessman. And again, another director there. One of the really good opportunities that we've had in the last couple months here is to have Mr. Ronnie Stoufferle. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he is he manages a fund out of Liechtenstein, and he writes the gold report that I think is one of the best that we've had. It's the gold standard of gold research, and that quote's by the Wall Street Journal. He has a great network of people over in Europe, and he started to tell the story for Affinity, and getting some great response from him and from his investors as well. So let me give you a little highlight. So we've been through what I think is exciting. You know, I told my wife when I was preparing for this presentation that we had something that was very close to what the Sullivan Mine was, and she says, "Is there any way you can make this project or this presentation more exciting?" I thought that was pretty exciting that we had something that was close to the Sullivan Mine. So obviously she's not as interested in this world as I am. We have massive geophysical targets. We have on that property good geology, past producing mines, historical reserves that are non-43-101 compliant, but show that we have enough of that geology to put together those kind of reserves. We're in the Kootenay Arc Trend. There's lots of good neighbors there. We have an opportunity to see the geology of our neighbors and other projects that are around us and compare those and have an opportunity to see what's really on our property. We have assays from an 1,800-meter drill program that are pending, should be back in the next week or so, so we'll look forward to them. We are seeing the same kind of metals and metallurgy in that core as we saw in the grab samplers. So we're looking for some good grades out of those as well and expect that to be the case. We only have 33 million shares outstanding. 85% are held by management and close business associates. We're a new company. We haven't marketed. This is the time for Affinity to go forward. We've got lots of upside in the stock. We've got lots of good opportunity in our project, in our targets that are there. If we do hit that Sullivan Mine, everybody will be in for a very nice return on their investment. So I'm Rob Edwards. I'm from Affinity Metals. We trade on the TSX Venture Exchange and under the ticker symbol AFF. If you want to look at our private placement, it is still open. We were closed about half of the $1 million that we're raising, and Anne-Marie or Scott will be able to help you with that. I've got to run for a plane ride after this, but thank you for your time.
If you enjoyed this video, please let us know. You've been watching the Richmond Club Report. If you've just come across this channel, please feel free to like and subscribe. I'm sure you'll find a lot of interesting and lucrative investment and trading ideas around here. We'll see you again soon on the next video. Cheers, guys. Have an amazing and profitable day.